Greetings, fellow denizens of the internet. This is spacezoomer. I zoom through space, talking about stuff nobody cares about. Except for me. You know why? Because I'm the spacezoomer, darn it! And today, we zoom in on the subject of cartoons. Now, everybody knows that I love cartoons. Be they from America, Asia, or Europe, it doesn't matter. They're all the same to me. But if there is one question that has been never asked of me, it is this: what are some of my favorites? So, in answer to your query, I decided to narrow down my top 10 favorite American and Japanese animated films. Now, it is never easy to make a top 10 list, let alone a top 10 list of favorite movies, let alone a top 10 list of your favorite movies from a particular medium. So this has taken a lot of thought on my part, but I believe I have narrowed it down. First, this is my top 10 favorite American animated films.
Number 10. Wizards. The first Ralph Bakshi movie I ever saw is also the best Ralph Bakshi movie I ever saw. The premise is your standard evil versus good kind of tale. Two wizard brothers, one good, one evil, have to battle to the death, one using magic, the other using technology. Yes, it's kind of formulaic, but I think it's done pretty well. The other reason it makes my list is that it's a technical labor of love on Bakshi's part. Every single frame was drawn, inked, and painted by hand. That is a sign of true craftsmanship. And if you pause it for just a nanosecond, you can actually see the brushstrokes on the characters' clothes. Marvelous. Number 9. Rock and Rule. Yes, I know, technically this film is Canadian, but it makes my list anyway. You know why? Because it's in English, and everyone in America speaks English. Anyway, the film, as one critic summed it up, is about a crazy rock star with Mick Jagger's lips, David Bowie's walk, Iggy Pop's physique, and Lou Reed's singing voice, summoning a killer demon made of cow brains from another dimension using the power of rock, and a bunch of furries have to sing a song about the power of love to send it back. Freaking sweet! And if that didn't hook you, the cheesy 80s rock soundtrack certainly will. I mean, come on, when was the last time you heard an Iggy Pop track in a cartoon? What? What's that? Space goofs? Well, learn something new every day. Number 8. American Pop. Another Bakshi masterpiece, also sporting a rockin' soundtrack. American Pop was the story of, literally, the history of music through the eyes of 4 generations of Russian Jewish family. Zalmy, a war veteran turned gangster who loves the music. Benny, a jazz pianist who dies a hero. Tony, a starving artist who falls in love with Janis Joplin. And Pete, a multi-talented cocaine pusher with a knack for rock and roll. I love this movie! Not only does it have the best soundtrack of any cartoon I've ever seen, it also has the most realistic rotoscoped animation I've ever seen. It's a feast for the eyes, a feast for the ears, and it assaults your senses, rocks your body, and touches your soul. It's American Pop. That's all. Number 7.
Trust me, I'm your fairy godmother.
Twice Upon a Time. Yet another rockin' soundtrack with some awesome animation. Twice Upon a Time is a film that I saw on Cartoon Network of all places, before they started sucking, you know, and I was memorized. It was a grand film of epic proportions. It concerns a shapeshifter who sounds like Garfield, a mime who looks like Charlie Chaplin, a wannabe actress, and a wannabe superhero, and their adventures to stop a madman from giving everyone in the world a case of chronic nightmares. It has a top-notch voice cast that includes Lorenzo Music, Marshall Efron, and Paul Frees, as well as a crazy awesome production team that included Henry Selick of Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline fame, and David Fincher of Fight Club and Benjamin Button fame. Oh, and George Lucas is the executive producer. But anyway, I think I speak for every fan of this film when I say, please, 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 Warner Brothers, release this film on DVD. Pretty please? Pretty please with marshmallows? I'll be your best friend. Number 6. The Beatles. Yellow Submarine. Now, how can you go wrong with the Beatles? They are only the greatest rock and roll band ever, and Yellow Submarine is their greatest cinematic achievement. And no, I have not seen A Hard Day's Night, unfortunately. But you know what? Who cares? I think the Beatles really outdid themselves with Yellow Submarine, and that's all there is to it. Next. Number 5. The Triplets of Belleville. Once again, this is not American, but it's a little late to be splitting hairs, isn't it? Anywho, The Triplets of Belleville, or Les Triplettes de Belleville, as it is known in France, was written and directed by Sylvain Chomet, and concerns the adventures of an old woman, who kinda looks like my grandmother, as she enters her grandson in the Tour de France. But the French mafia captures him and forces him to ride until he dies, or until they get bored, or until they run out of wine, or whatever. It's kinda complicated and weird, but the animation is pretty. I think they do a great job of caricaturing the American lifestyle. It's funny without being insulted. We're fat, stupid Americans who do nothing but eat and screw. Isn't that the funniest thing ever? Number 4. Coraline. Written and directed by the aforementioned Henry Selick, and based on the book by Neil Gaiman, creator of The Sandman and American Gods, Coraline is one of the prettiest stop-motion films to come out in the last decade. I remember when I first heard that they were making a film out of Coraline the book, which was all the way back in 2005. I bought it and mowed through it in a few days, and I waited, and 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 waited, until finally, in 2009, they released it in theaters. I didn't see it. Number 3. Corpse Bride. Only Tim Burton can make an activity like necrophilia seem like an okay thing to try. I saw this in the theaters when I was about 15, and I was absolutely blown away. But then again, why would you expect anything less from the imagination of Tim Burton? This is the guy who gave us tales of children who worship Vincent Price, romantic dramas about cyborgs with knives for fingers, a biography of the worst director who ever lived, a troublemaking necromancer who with a taste for insects, and Winona Ryder, and of course... Number 2. The Nightmare Before Christmas. The poster child for Hot Topic shoppers everywhere, The Nightmare Before Christmas was one of the biggest parts of my childhood. It really paved the way for my affinity for stop-motion animation. Oh yeah, I know literally every single word in the movie. Seriously, every single word. Every word, every voice, every action, everything. I would be hard-pressed to find anyone who knew as much as I did about the film.
Well, all these films are great and all, but in every top 10 list, there must be a number 1. And this is mine. It's...
Number 1. Wallace and Gromit. Which one? All of them. It was too hard to pick just one, so I decided to pick them all. Even the computer games from Telltale, yes, even those are worthy of being here. The Wonderful World of the Inventor and His Dog have come a long way in 20 years. I remember seeing The Wrong Trousers on PBS, and it was one of the funniest things I had seen up to that point. In fact, I still have the original VHS box set of the original shorts. I watch them on my HD TV in all their grainy, glorious, old-fashioned monophonic standard definition splendor. Truly a legend in the history of animation.
It's claymation, it's fun, it's exciting, and expertly animated, and it's my favorite cartoon of all time. Well, thank you for sitting through this entire thing. It really, really means a lot to me. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what I did wrong. Tell me what I did right. Tell me I suck. Tell me I rock. Tell me anything. Just please love me.